Hello everybody, I am back once again, ready to continue making video games. So let's continue. Alright, so my game's got a bunch of monkey heads flying around. It's very scary, but cool nonetheless. So what I'm doing, so I have front face clockwise as or counterclockwise as true. I want that to be false. I want my front faces to be clockwise, just because that's the way I think, and to me that should be the proper way. So if I do that, however, and I run it, you notice that the Suzanne mesh is now inverted, like I could only see the back side of the face. So what I need to do is change my Blender exporter. So open. So by the way, I saved what I was working on last time. So there's the mesh. Oh, and it can't see the texture because actually, let me go ahead and wait, what am I doing? There we go. So the texture has to be in the same directory as the Blender file. And where did it go? It should be like PNG. Why am I not seeing it? See a PDB. Oh, there it is. Okay, so now if I run it and then open the untitled, I should have titled it. Yeah, so now you can see the actual texture showing up. And so what I need to do, so basically if I just enumerate through the vertices backwards, then that will take the counterclockwise rendering of each face and make it clockwise, right? Which is fine. So yeah, if I run that and then re-export it, so object, export that, and Suzanne. Let's put this in my project folder. Wait a minute. No, not relative path. There we go. Let's put it in my project folder and then I'll call it Suzanne. So there we go. We export it and then I rerun it. Okay, so now the mesh is fine, but the texture is messed up. And you could tell, obviously, because the eyes don't look right. So I was thinking about how I can go about fixing this, and I don't think it's going to be as complicated as I originally thought. So here I'm setting the UV coordinates here. And so I'm using these loop indices. I don't think I want to do that. I think because it just goes sequentially. And I prove that because I think this is the proper way to do it. But even when I use my, where's that? My vertex counter and just increase it for every vertex, it works just the exact same. So I'm going to go back to using that, but I'm going to modify things a little bit. So we use the vertex counter as the index to know which UV I want to put at that vertex. So then what I want to do instead, so I'm going to come up here before that loop starts. And so basically for each face, for each polygon, I want to go through the vertices backwards, which I'm doing here. But then I also want to make sure that the UV coordinates are going backwards as well. So I just, for each face, I just need to, I really don't know how to explain it other than just go backwards. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep track of what index the last vertex of that polygon is, start the texture there, and then go backwards from there. So I'm going to make a variable here. I'll call it, I don't know, polyvert thing. I don't know. This is really just a temporary thing. And it's basically just going to be the length of the vertices for every polygon. And then I want to subtract 1 from that because it's 0 indexing. So the last element is 1 less than the total number of indices or vertices. So then what I'm going to do is add that. So polyvert count no, polyvert length plus that, and then every frame, or not every frame, every iteration of this loop, so that's for the X, that's for the Y. So every iteration of this loop, I'm going to just decrease that value because it'll get reset back to the length once this loop finishes anyway. So let's come back here and we'll do minus equals 1. And then I don't want to update this here. I want to wait until after this for loop finishes. And then I'm just going to basically set that equal to the length of however many vertices there were. Or not set it equal to that, but increase it by that much. So I think that should work. And I am like 50% sure that it will. All right, so let's try this again. Then put that here. Why does it keep doing that? And then Suzanne. Okay, so it exported, and then let's run it. Hey, it worked. Yeah, so now the texture is correct, the mesh is correct, and I am rendering each face in the clockwise order. Just to double check. Yes, counterclockwise is false. That means I'm rendering each face clockwise, which is good. That's what I wanted to do. So I am now going to save this text, save, and then let's go back to the preferences. I don't think I need to change the wait, did it? Maybe once I changed it, it stopped adding it. Yeah. So I do want to add that. So let me go ahead and save this. So if I go back here, start it all over again, file, open, untitled, yeah. So it's got the updated script. If I go here, it's already there. So I just go here, put everything back again. That is getting annoying. I wish it would just stop doing relative path. There we go. And just to emphasize that it is working, yeah, there we go. Oh no, it broke it again. What happened? Wait, did it change the script? Oh, okay, so I think, let me just double check. So I run that script again. So let's run this new one here. Object, so this again, Suzanne. Not relative path. There we go. Okay, so now it's working. So I think, so let's just double check. So text, save. So the text has been saved. Let's go to edit, preferences. Let's uninstall that. I don't know what those errors are all about. Whatever, I'm trying to uninstall it. Why are you giving me errors? Okay, so now if I reinstall it, let's try that. So it's already there. Let's just do it with a cube here. Let's unwrap. There it goes. And I'm just going to call it Suzanne so I don't have to change anything in my code. All right, so I assume that worked. Let's go here now. And there I got a bunch of cubes with a monkey mesh on it, or maybe a monkey texture. That's ugly. Okay, so let's go back to the other one. So file, open, don't save. So open untitled. Let's go back here to layout, put the texture on it. And so if I go to object, texture mesh exporter, I want to export Sin, Saguinus. There we go, and let's try this again. Still broken. Why? Okay, so oh, you know what? Actually, I don't know what. Untitled. That's just something there. So if I were to come to, where's the open with? Yeah, so it's got the updated UVs. I don't know why the actual plugin is not representing my most up-to-date version of the script. Let's go back to preferences and see if we can't figure this out. So let's say, maybe we need to do refresh. Oh, maybe I need to actually reinstall the whole script. That would make sense. Desktops, this one, texture mesh. There we go. So now I'm reinstalling that. It's here. Actually, let's do this file, save. There we go. Now it's officially working. All right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and call that plugin finished. And now, so the only thing I wanted to do other than that was make my texture exporter official, make it an official plugin. So let's go back to scripting. Let's open up our texture exporter. And I'm going to, oh sweet, I still got all this stuff commented out here. So I'm going to implement this. I'm going to keep the comments actually. Okay, so I'm just going to basically modify this to be an official plugin. Wait. Hold on. Oh, I copied the wrong thing. So I actually don't need any of this at all. Get rid of all that. So I want all of this. And yeah, okay. So let's replace that with that and just change everything I need. So this will just be a texture exporter. Texture exporter. So I only need that's what I need. What the heck? Okay, so those are the plugins I need. I mean, not plugins, imports. So let's get rid of all those and replace them with that. And then, so this will be texture exporter, exports a image, an image to raw pixel data. texture exporter, texture exporter. Okay, so the only thing, so I need an object name. I'm going to call this image name. I need a file location and then the file name, so that would be fine. To export image, to export, file location, file name, that stays the same. Execute stays the same, except for the function inside is going to be different. Oh, but actually I do want to keep this if statement here. Just replace that one with that, and then just delete everything else. I keep forgetting I can't shift click. So yeah, I don't need this add vertex function. There we go. Okay, so then this is again going to be texture exporter. Texture exporter. Texture exporter. All right, so then I just want to take all of this and paste it above here, keeping the format, and that should be it. Oh no, not quite. So yeah, now I want to replace this with the self dot image name, and then this is going to be self dot file location plus quote slash quote plus self dot file name. Now that should be it. Oh, self.filename plus, and then I'm going to go ahead and add textpix as my extension. There we go. All right, so let's test this. Let's run the script. If I come up here, now I got texture exporter. I click that, it asks what image I would like to export. I want to export Suzanne texture. Underscore texture. I'm going to put this here into my project. Let's make sure it's not the relative path. Yeah. All right, and the file name is just Suzanne. And it worked. Well, it exported at least. So let's come back here. I did call it Suzanne.textpix, right? Yeah, okay. So then, yeah. So I shouldn't have to change anything. I just rerun it. Everything should be exactly the same, which it is. So let's call that successful. I can now get rid of all of this and text, save it. And now I can add it as an official plugin. So preferences, oh, I need to install it. Texture exporter, there it is. And so if I make it official, refresh, okay. All right, so that's it. So now let me just check again. Yeah, sure. Okay. Actually, you know, I'm going to test it in a different way. I'm going to just go ahead and make a new material here. Base color, image texture, new image. Let's call this test. Let's call it test. Okay. And if I go to UV editing, can I? No, not UV editing. Texture painting. Let's do this. Let's just put some weird blue streaks on it. And then go to back to layout. Let's put this on. And then object texture exporter. Oops. Let's see here. just test. Okay, so I go back to layout, object, texture exporter. It's called test. I want to put it in my project folder. And I'll just call it test as well. And that's it. Takes a second. And there it is. So let's change Suzanne to just be test and recompile, rerun, and there we go. I got a Nightwing monkey. Cool. Let's put that back as Suzanne just for... All right, and I can go ahead and delete that. Cool. I'm happy with that. So I got an official mesh exporter and a texture exporter. Now what? Okay, so what I don't know what to do now. So let's go back to 2D, make texture exporter plugin, done. Figure out how to reverse index order for a textured mesh render, done. All right, so I still got to improve the lighting. That's a big task. I gotta find better trig functions than math.h. That's also kind of a big task. I need to render font or render text using fonts. This is going to be another big task. Animated meshes. What else? Oh man, everything really. Okay, so all this was for testing. I'm going to go ahead and just delete all of it. Let me make sure I still got the texture in there. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to delete all of this stuff here. Let's empty my recycle bin just to prove that I really don't need it. And I don't know what to work on now. Something that I can make some progress on, but not spend all night trying to get perfect. Let me see. Texture mesh render. I guess I'm going to start with a text renderer. I don't think I'm going to get it done tonight. In fact, I know for a fact I won't. But at least I can get started. So I'm going to copy my textured mesh renderer and just modify it to be a text renderer. So for the vertex constants, I don't need a model matrix. I just need a camera matrix. Not even a camera matrix, just a projection. I'll call it projection matrix. For the pixel constants, I think I just need a color. So I know what color to render the text, because the sizing I think I'm going to handle differently. So let's get a vertex buffer. I'm going to keep an index buffer. I don't know if I need one though. Of course, I need a vertex and pixel constant buffer, a vertex shader, pixel shader, and an input layout, a default texture. And I don't think I need that. I think, yeah, I'm going to need it, but just in a different context. All right, let me see. I'm going to update the stream title here. Making Okay, that took longer than I wanted to. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and just go ahead and start the function that initializes it. I'm going to just actually copy this whole thing. All right, now I'll call this initialize text renderer. All right, so everything with textured mesh renderer. I actually got to build a textured mesh renderer. I mean, a text mesh renderer. So yeah. So I'll have a static text renderer. Call it just text renderer. And then of course this will be text renderer. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I should not name that basic shader now that it's not so basic. I mean, it's still pretty basic, but it's not just rendering a triangle anymore. So I'm going to rename that. Where's that? Basic shader. Rename. I'm going to call this the textured mesh renderer. Or no, textured mesh shader. And so that means up here, I have to change these now to be that. All right, let's just see if that works still. Uh-oh, I broke it. Oh, yeah. Because it's shader, not renderer. I already made that mistake once. There we go. So with that being said, I also need to make a text shader. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so for the position, it's only going to be a float 2. I don't need any normals. I do need UV coordinates though. For the vertex output, so I need the float for position. I don't need those two, just the UV coordinate. So this is the projection matrix. And for the pixel constants, I believe for now I'm just going to have a color. And so for the pixel input, I don't need these again. I'm definitely going to have a texture. It's going to be different though. It's going to be only 1 byte per pixel because it's either you can see the letter being rendered or you can't. And let's see, so the vertex output, so UV coordinates is that. Don't need any of that. Should actually change that anyway. So this will be projection matrix. I don't need the model matrix. And I don't need that extra parentheses. All right, and so since this is a vec2, I now need to add the z coordinate, which is just going to be 0. All right, so I don't need any light stuff. I'm basically just going to return so just return color. And yeah, I think that's it. So let's go ahead and now, so I can go back to the text render initialization. Call this text shader. All right, so now my layout is going to be different. it's going to not have a normal. It's got a position. It does not have a B component. That's a vec2. And so since it's a vec2, it's going to now be offset by only 2 floats. That's also a vec2. All right, so it's only got 2 attributes. And then I'm just going to keep that for now. All good, all good. Okay, yeah. Anything with textured mesh renderer should be text renderer. All right, so the vertex stride is now only 4 floats. 2 for the position, 2 for the texture, or UV coordinates. That's that. Buffer, that, and that. Now the default texture is gonna be different. Still okay. So what else am I gonna do? I'm gonna treat right now the default texture as just a test texture. Let's see if I. Okay, so that'll be my goal for tonight. Try to get that rendering in some way. Okay, but it's only going to be 1 byte per pixel. So I'm going to basically, this will be black, white, black, white, black, black, white, white, black, black, white, white, black, white, black, white. And anything in between would be gray. Okay, so I'm going to build one of those and see if it compiles. So let's put this above. I'm going to give this higher priority than the texture mesh. Initialize text renderer. It does compile, but I get an error creating the pixel constant buffer and an error shader resource view. I think I meant to say error creating shader resource view. Wait, so error creating pixel constant buffer. Okay, so that one. And why? So then error shader resource view. I don't even know where I put error shader resource view. Oh, no texture. Oh, okay. I think I know why. Yeah, I'm not even using the proper thing here. Okay, so I got rid of that other error. I'm still getting the error creating. Still getting the error with the pixel constant buffer. Let's see if I can figure out why. It's probably that stupid padding thing again. So yeah, because it's giving this 4 floats, but this is only 3. So let's just add another pad. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah. I still want to rework that, by the way. It's so ugly. I don't like having this unused space here. Put that in my to-do. How do I word this? Alright, so that'll be worked on at some point eventually. Okay, so now I can successfully, let me just double check. Yeah, so I'm creating, or I'm initializing my text renderer. Let's try to render some text. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and make a function that says render text. I'm not gonna complete it, but at least I'll get started with it. So let's see, after I create textured mesh, render textured mesh. All right, so I'll put it here. Static void, I'll call it render text. It's gonna take in a constant character string for the text. It's going to need a X position, Y position, and a scale, so how big I want the text to be. Anything else? I guess a color, for what color the text should be. Make it a vector 4 so I can add transparency, which by the way, I have to add transparency to the whole engine. I don't think I have anything here. In fact, I could prove that. Let me see, if I just come down here and then hard code that to be 0.5. Yeah, so I still see the mesh completely opaque, so pretty sure I got to do something special with DirectX to tell it to add transparency. I'll figure that out later. Okay, so the render text, let's see, so I got to set up a bunch of stuff here. I want to set up the pixel shader, the vertex shader, the input layout, the vertex buffer, the index buffer, the constant buffers, the shader resource view. Yeah, let's just copy all that and modify it. So it's going to be text renderer. Okay, so let's see. So I'm setting the right vertex shader, setting the pixel shader, setting the right input layout. Setting the vertex buffer. I'm trying to think. I really don't know if I'm going to need an index buffer at all. Anyway, so when I do all that, I need to update. I need to update the sub resources. Okay, so yeah, what I just remembered, one thing I'm going to need is, so here in my mathematics class or file, so I have this function for creating a perspective projection, but I also need to create an orthogonal projection. Create orthogonal projection. Okay, so then instead of all of this, it's going to need to take in a left, a right, bottom, top, and then a z near and a z far. Are near and far still keywords? What? Oh. Mesh 287. Oh yeah, let's comment that out for now. Oh, still works. So I guess I can use near and far. I'm just gonna still use z near and z far, just in case. Okay, so now let's go to the Google box here, figure out how to write a orthogonal projection matrix. Orthogonal. Orthogonal matrix. Usually if you just go to the images, they got like a picture showing you what to do. Oops. That's it. That's what I'm looking for. Is it transposed? I'm going to assume it's transposed. I'm going to just do that as rows. Okay, so m dot m2 0 0 is 2 divided by the right minus the left. 2 divided by right minus left. This is what I should do. Wait, is this one? Oh, okay, I'll just go this way. Okay, so that's going to be 2 divided by the right minus the left, and then 0, 0, 0, bam, 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 and then 4, 0, 2 divided by top minus bottom. So 2 divided by the top minus the bottom. And then 0, 0, 0, 0, so 0, 0, 0, 0, and then, so that one should be 2 divided by the near minus the far. Okay, so then we got negative the right minus left divided by a right minus left. So negative right minus the left divided by, I'm going to pre-calculate that actually because I'm using it quite a bit. R min L equals right minus left. So that can go there, and it can go here, and it can go here. And I might as well pre-calculate the top minus bottom and far minus near. No. So it's either near minus far, far plus near, or far minus near. No reason to pre-calculate any of those, I believe. All right, so then the next one is, let me see, it's 12. 1, 2, 3, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12. Oh, wait, yeah, I forgot. Wait. Oh, so I got that wrong. So that should be 0, and then that one should be that. That makes sense. And then that one is negative top plus bottom divided by top minus bottom. So T min B is top minus bottom. And so the next one is negative top plus bottom divided by T min B. And then far plus near divided by far minus near, not negative. Z far plus. All right, and the last one is 1. Okay, that's working. Not, just kidding. Undeclared identifier. Oh, yeah. Saint Python, brah. There we go. So, back when I am initializing my text renderer, I can go ahead and set the projection matrix in the constant buffer. Here, let's do that here. So the text renderer dot vertex constants dot projection matrix is create orthogonal projection, and then so the left is 0, the right is my width, the bottom is 0, the top is my height, and the z near is going to be -1, and the z far is just +1. That's right. I called it. Was it screen width, screen height, window width, window height? There we go. All right. Okay, so I think I'm just going to quickly just fill in some vertex data, some index data, update the sub-resource, and see if it renders. I don't know. So let's just call this verts. Negative 0.5, positive, no, negative 0.5, negative 0.5, positive 0.5. It's going to be positive 0.5. And 0.5, negative 0.5. Oh yes, I need index data or UV data, so that's 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. 16 is, that's just 0, 1, 2, 2, 3, 0. Okay, so then I'm going to update the vertex and index buffer. Vertex buffer, index buffer, and that's going to be this is going to be verts, and that's going to be ins, and too many S's. Okay, let's see if that compiles. It does. Okay, so then when I draw, I'm going to draw index. It's going to be 6 indices. There's going to be no offset, no add-on. So just seeing if that works at all. All right, so now let's test that. So after I render my textured meshes, let's try to render text. Just some, doesn't matter. None of this is actually being used right now. And then the scale is just, I don't know, and then some vector 4. All right, let's see what happens there. I'm not so sure anything will happen really. Uh-oh. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Okay, so when I'm updating my index buffer, it's not happy. I think I should probably put how much I'm actually overwriting. I'm not sure if that's the right spot. Source depth pitch, or is it source row pitch? I don't know, let's try this. it's not happy. Okay, so I'm having an issue trying to update my. Actually, it's probably. This usually, from my experience, always goes one line too late. So I think the actual problem is here, which probably makes sense. I don't know, I'm not seeing anything obvious that's poking out at me. What if I just took this out altogether and just tried to run it? It's probably not going to be very happy either. Oh, it still works. Yeah, so I'm trying to update any of these sub-resources. I probably didn't create them right, to be honest. So initialize texture on your. I don't know. I'm getting tired. I really don't feel like messing with this right now. I'm going to put this on hold until next time, and then just plow right through it. Just get some text on the screen, because once I get some text, it'll be so much easier to debug things and see what's going on, get the state of variables and stuff, and I would be able to actually just see it right here. Whoops, there, rebuild this. It's going to be nice to be able to actually read text on the screen so I can see things and not have to look down at the console or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night here. I'm going to go ahead and save this to GitHub just because I got those exporters working the way I like it. Git that all. Git commit. Started a text renderer. All right, that'll do it for me. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.